It's really cool. It's the first time I've ever had a wrestler on the show, something different than a musician, which is pretty cool because we get to talk about different stuff other than just music. But what are you listening to lately? I'm sitting here with Chris Jericho.
Well, I gotta just tell you, I am a musician as well. So, so you know, I am actually not even a wrestler now. I'm more of the musician thing. So now you have a musician who used to be a wrestler.
Used to be a wrestler. You're not going back to it? What's the deal with that?
I'm not going to say I'm not going to go back, but I decided to take a little bit of a break for the last couple months, and when the time is right, I'll go back. But until then, I'm not. I've just been concentrating more with the band, with Fozzy, and we've been doing a lot of touring over the last couple months. We've hit Australia, Ireland, Scotland, England, Wales. Then now we're here in London to do a show tonight. So
cool. Big fan base over there too, or is it just more? Chris Jericho fans coming out to shows?
No,
or is
it's Fozzy fans over there. Yeah, we've spent a lot of time working the band, and we've been there 4 times so far this year.
No way.
And we played to 30,000 people at the Download Festival with Black Sabbath and System of a Down and Slipknot.
No way.
Yeah,
what's that like to play with those kind of bands?
It was great. I mean, it was a big test for us, but we kind of passed it in flying colors. And one of the big magazines called Kerrang! Magazine gave us the Stealing the Show award for the day that we played. So, yeah, for whatever reason, England is really picking up on what we're doing, and it's been great for us to go over there. But it's been great for us to play in Canada too. It's always great for us to come here.
Of course. Now you said you played with Sabbath. What does Ozzy think of your name? I know it used to be called Fozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, for a couple shows way long ago, but I actually never even got a chance to even see Ozzy. Kind of just gets sequestered and just shows up 5 minutes before the show and goes on stage. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
that kind of star.
Exactly.
You used to be called Mongoose McQueen when you started off with the band. Are you still doing that, or is it just
No. We started that off. What happened was we got together. A group of friends just playing some of our favorite songs that we listened to when we were growing up, like anybody else. And because of who was in the band, myself and a bunch of dudes from the band Stuck Mojo, we got a record deal right off the bat after 2 shows, basically to play covers. For some reason, the record company Wiz thought that was a great idea, and so someone's going to threw us a bunch of money to play covers. That's what we did, and we wanted to come up with something a little bit more creative, so we came up with a whole backstory, like a Blues Brothers type story, and Mongoose McQueen was my Elwood Blues moniker. And then as the band progressed and evolved, we started playing more and more original stuff until we realized that's what we wanted to do, and that's what our fans wanted us to do, and that's what any band wants to do, is basically play your own material. Definitely. Because it's much more fun that way.
Is Big City Nights one of your songs, or is that a cover?
No, that's a Scorpions song.
Cool.
Scorpions song. Yeah.
Do you want to play that one right now?
Sure, if you like it.
That's
sure.
one of my favorites. It sounds really 80s. I like how you got that whole, it's kind of like Jefferson Starship kind of chorus going on.
Wow, that's a Scorpions song, so there you go.
Well, there you have it. I want to talk about wrestling for a second. You said you're done with it for now. You planning on going to movies, maybe like The Rock, something like that?
I've been working on some things. I actually did shoot a movie called Too Human for the Sci-Fi Channel. It's going to be on in March.
Cool.
And I'm working on some other stuff that I think is going to pay off, and I mean, The Rock obviously is the exception to the rule. He made it fast, he made it big, and I'm not saying I want to be the next Rock, but I think I could definitely make a good career in Hollywood. It's something that I've always done and I've always wanted to do, and I've been studying very hard to improve on my craft, and I think things are going to go good for me the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Most importantly, because I have the tenacity to want to do it the same way that I did with wrestling, the same way I did with the band, and I think I know I can do it. So it's just a matter of just putting your nose to the grindstone and just going for it.
You're real good on the mic. I mean, everyone would take lessons from you. When you get out there, you know exactly what you're doing. How do you get to that point where you know exactly how to hook a crowd together?
It's hard to say. I mean, it's just one of those things that's an intangible. It's like having the X factor, and you have to connect with the crowd if you want to make it in wrestling. That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter how big you are, how many cool moves you can do. You have to make the crowd care about you, hate you, love you, whatever it may be. And it's something that I always just had a little bit of a knack on how to do it. And the best guys just know. It's just something you can't really teach it. It's like having some charisma and just knowing how to make the crowd react to what you want them to do, being a puppet master and manipulating the crowd into believing what you're saying or not believing what you're saying, if that's what you want them to do as well.
What do you prefer, being a bad guy or a good guy?
It really doesn't matter. They're both fun. I think it's a lot easier to make people hate you than it is to make them really like you. So it's an art form. I think to be a great heel is an art form, but I think it's a much harder art form to be a great babyface where people truly, truly like you. And like I said, once again, I've been able to connect on both sides of the coin. So for me, it doesn't matter either way as long as people are into what I'm doing and enjoying what I'm doing.
Is that weird for you to have people hate you one day and then, in the script it changes and you're a good guy again and then people love you? Is that weird for you?
No, I love it. I actually have done it within 5 minutes. I did it in Canada a couple of years ago, and it's really easy to do in Canada because even if you're a bad guy, you can come out
if you're Canadian,
portray you're a good guy. I'm from Canada, and this is where I grew up. And when I think of Canada, one thing pops in my head. man, am I glad I left because this place sucks or whatever, and people automatically just on the drop of a dime just go from super adulation to just wanting to see you, get thrown, fall into some pig manure or something like that. So it's like I said, it's an art form, and it actually becomes quite fun after a while.
Let's play another song, your choice, off any of the albums. Maybe something off the new record if you want.
Yeah, let's play Enemy from All That Remains.
I love that song. Cool. Things are scripted, and you've been the champion a lot of times. Is there a lot of respect in the background, in the dressing room when you become champion? Is there still that kind of thing like in a boxing ring, I would suppose?
Absolutely. I mean, it is show business, and like you said, a little bit scripted, but it's still, they don't just give the world championship to just anybody.
No,
I mean, it's a calculated thing going off what the fans are telling people, telling the office, and money-making opportunities, and just seeing what it is that the people want. So even though it's show business, it's still, when you win the title, you really still are winning the title, because in order to get it, you have to be deserving of it, and the people want to see you, have to want to see you get it, and that's part of knowing how to portray your character and how to get people to care about you and connecting with the crowd. So, and there is a lot of respect because there's 120 wrestlers in the back and one champion. So you're at the top of the mountain.
How far in advance do you know that that's going to happen?
There's really no specific thing. It all depends. Sometimes things happen on the drop of a dime. When I won the title, I found out, I think, the week before, maybe.
How do you prep yourself for something like that?
You don't. You just go. It doesn't matter for me, if you're winning or losing is the same.
Yeah.
It's all about putting on the best possible performance that you can. So you don't really prep yourself to go, oh my gosh, I'm going to be the champion now. It's just another day at the office. And when I won the championship, I won it in San Diego. I had to drive back to. No, actually, sorry. The first time I won the championship, I won in St. Louis. By the time I got back to my hotel, the room service was closed. Everything was closed. I had to order a Domino's pizza, which they wouldn't even deliver to my room because they'd have a policy of leaving it in the hotel lobby. So I had to walk downstairs in my stocking feet, get a cold pizza, lock myself out of the room, had to come back down, get the hotel guy to let me back in my room with my cold pizza and my bare feet, and I was the world champion. So there you go. The glamour of wrestling and being a champion, ladies and gentlemen.
The character you portray on TV and wrestling, the character you portray on stage, I suppose. What's the difference between the two of them?
Well, I mean, the best gimmicks and the best characters are yourself, just turned up to 11. So, I mean, you have to just be yourself. And if I'm a little bit sarcastic and a little bit of a dry wit, a quick-witted guy, and that you have to portray that in the ring, but just turn it up to 11. And that's the best, most famous, most successful characters are just extensions of the normal guy.
Who's your favorite person to go against in the ring, or was your favorite person?
A lot of guys. I always had fun working with The Rock. That was probably my favorite guy. Chris Benoit, Christian, Shawn Michaels, those guys. Yeah.
Cool. Let's play another song. Once again, your choice of any of your
let's play Nameless Faceless off All That Remains.
Cool. I've always had a thing about the whole Bret Hart thing leaving. Was it scripted?
No, that was real. I wasn't there at the time, so I don't really know for sure, but knowing what I do know is the real thing.
It's too perfect as a storyline.
Well, it's been 8 years, though.
And he's back now.
No, he's not.
He's not?
No, he just
So
has
what's the whole thing that's going on with him right now?
Nothing. He just has a DVD that they're making, but he's not coming back. I don't think he'll ever come back.
Can't do it?
I just don't think he wants to, because it was the real deal,
Yeah.
It's the one thing in wrestling that was absolutely 100% real.
Cool. We do this thing every week on the show called 5 Questions, 5 quick questions, 1-word answers.
Okay.
iPod or CDs?
iPod.
Lennon or McCartney?
Oh, man. McCartney.
Alcohol or marijuana?
Alcohol.
Song you've written you're most proud of?
Enemy.
And 1 word, Chris Jericho.
Dedicated.
Sweet. Pick another song.
All right, let's do off the new record. Let's play Wanderlust featuring Zach Wilde from Black Label Society and Ozzy.
Are you a Rangers fan? Are you maybe go for the Flames or the Jets back in the day, maybe?
I loved the Jets because I grew up in Winnipeg, and that was my team. The Rangers too, but then when I moved from Winnipeg to Calgary to start training for wrestling, and the Jets moved, then Calgary became my team. So Calgary was my team for about 10 years. So when they made it all the way to the finals a couple years ago, I was going nuts. And I live in Tampa too, so Calgary, the Rangers, and Tampa are my 3 favorite teams.
And Calgary played Tampa?
Yeah, so it sucked. I went to Game 5 and Calgary won in Tampa, and I was going nuts. And I was yelling at my little nephew, "That's in your face, buddy. You see how that works? You see how we roll?" And then the next game, they won, and then they won the Stanley Cup, and I was very sad.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
One more song to close out. Chris, thanks so much for joining us.
Let's do the title track from All That Remains. This is All That Remains, right here on 88.8. 88.3. Actually, it's +5 because we're so quality today. We just added 0.5 to the dial.
Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it.
All right, my pleasure. Thanks.